friends, it's me, Stu, here for you, and I am excited because today we are bringing people together who have launched memberships, but the key piece to their story is they kept it super simple. Now, I don't know if you have ever let overwhelm get the best of you and prevent you from taking action on an idea that you knew would be a home run. Well, if so, this is exactly for you because my goal here today is to share these amazing stories and inspire you to get out of your own way and, most importantly, get going and specifically launch your membership. So, with that, we're going to dive right in, and we have a whole bunch of guests who each have different markets that they serve, different types of memberships, and they've done it in different types of ways. But the common thread with each of them is that they kept the tech very simple. And the most important part to that is by keeping it simple, it allowed them to get going. Too many great ideas collect digital dust because people don't get out of their own way and they overcomplicate things. Today, it's about keeping it simple, and I'm very excited to bring up our guest to talk about that. So with that, let me bring up our first guest coming in at 3 a.m. all the way from Australia, the one and only Rebecca Flint. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm good, Stu. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Well, I am just so grateful that you're up at 3 in the morning to join us here today. So shout out to you and all the Aussies who might be watching, but super grateful to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's really good to be here. We actually thought it was an hour earlier than this, so I was up an hour earlier. So
oh my gosh.
Right, we'll get the time differences sorted eventually.
Okay. Well, Rebecca, thank you for joining us. Let's first start off by quickly talking about who is it that you serve in your market?
Yeah, for sure. Solopreneurs, small business owners, and content creators.
Okay. And what are you helping them do?
Yeah, so I've been a brand and graphic designer for 25 years, and I'm also a Canva verified expert. And I also got to work at Canva for 2 years. So I am teaching people how to master Canva and their branding so that they can put themselves, their products, their services out into the world and be seen and heard effectively.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about a membership because you have just recently launched your membership. Like this is like as fresh of a membership as can be. So talk to me first about like when you were thinking about a membership, why did you want to create one?
Yeah, mainly because I was getting asked the same questions every day and over again. And I thought, you know, I love showing up for people and I love helping people, but it got to the point where my husband was like, you are on your phone all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but this person needs help and they're in France, you know? So I thought, this is getting ridiculous. So I thought if I could put a membership together and I could help more people all at once in a very structured step-by-step program, then hopefully, you know, I could point people in the right direction. So, yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So, and there's a great lesson in that for everybody. I mean, if anybody watching and listening has ever found themselves answering a similar question or same question over and over and over again, there's clues behind that experience in terms of it potentially being a great membership. So let's talk about it. You just recently launched your membership. I want to ask, how did you keep things super simple?
Okay. Well, first of all, I did not have everything ready. I was literally, my friend Lisa said to me, Rebecca, you're building the plane as you're flying it. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard that quote before, but I was literally building a plane with the wings falling off. So, you know, each day I'd put a piece together, whether it be an email for the founding member launch, or I'd go live on Instagram, or, you know, I'd quickly create a graphic in Canva and pop it up on my Instagram stories. But I was literally building this launch as I was launching it because I didn't have everything ready and I didn't have everything perfect. And I think that's what's held me back for literally years is thinking that I had to have everything done and finished and perfect. And I chose the Searchy platform to host my training hub in. But
great choice, by the way.
Oh, yes, it is excellent. And my customers love it. But I didn't make the focus the training hub. I made the focus working with me as your group coach one-on-one twice a month, and also getting support in a supportive Facebook community. So I made the focus those things first, and the training hub was the bonus. So as I do my group coaching each month, I'm recording those sessions, and that's going into the training hub. So I'll be building it as I go along with my members, as I find out what they want and need, and I create training based on what they need right now to solve their problems. So I didn't have it perfect. It was super scrappy and really messy, but it got done. And I think done is better than perfect, especially when you're launching for the very first time.
Well, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Rebecca, but I could only imagine for a designer as skilled as you are, your brain is probably wired that every pixel, everything has to be perfect. So this must have been uncomfortable for you. And I want to
really
if you could kind of speak to the other perfectionists in the audience who may be feeling that tension.
Yeah. So people said to me, oh, it's fine for you. You know how to put graphics together and do branding. And I'm like, yeah, but I've come from a world where everything needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be perfection. I'm an ex-gymnast of 10 years. You know, I came 7th in Australia for my gymnastics level. And you don't do that by not being perfect and not launching or not competing on the day without being perfect. So coming away from being a perfectionist was really hard, but I just had to do it. And everything I put out in public was designed in Canva. I mean, I'm fully skilled in all the Adobe products. I could have done super A-class graphics, but I wanted to show people what was possible inside of Canva by using a tool that is free for most people, you know. So so yes, I could have done it way more beautifully and way more perfect, but that was not the point. The point was to get over myself, start serving people, and really, you know, if I'm sitting here and I have all this knowledge in my head, that's doing a huge disservice to people all around the world. I need to help people put themselves out there, and I need to do that in a scrappy, non-perfectionist way. So,
well, I love it. So let's quickly talk about like what happened. You put it out there and you invite people to come join. Did you have like a massive audience of tens of thousands of people that this was going to, Rebecca?
No, teeny tiny. I had a list of 500. So I built an ebook about 4 or 5 years ago, which is so outdated, but I'm still using it as a lead magnet. So I had, I think, 480 or nearly 500 people on that list. Very inactive list that I did not take care of at all. And I apologize to the people on that list. But I had that, and I had roughly 2,300 followers on Instagram, again, that I'd built up over time, but hadn't really had a content strategy or anything behind it. So had a list, I had Instagram, and I thought, well, surely in there, I wanted 5 people. I just wanted 5. And I ended up with 22 people signing up for my, 23 actually now. I have 29 in there, but some of them won a competition and some of them are current VIP clients of mine, but ended up with 23 paid members, which is nearly 5 times more than I thought I would get from an inactive list and a very small following on Instagram that I was not taking care of. So,
well, it kind of just speaks to the fact that you know, you don't need a massive audience to be able to get this going. And I want to ask real quickly, how did you feel in that moment when that first paying member signed up?
Well, funnily enough, I actually pressed go and launch at, I think it was about 7 o'clock at night. So I put my page live and I sent my email out, but my family wasn't here. My husband was picking up my daughter from gymnastics. Actually, my toddler was asleep, and it was such an anticlimax. I was like, I'd done all this work and I finally hit go. I went, oh. So then I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I had my first sale sitting in my inbox. And so I celebrated the next morning, not the night that I launched. But like, to get that sale, I literally was doing like, yes! Someone wanted to buy this. Oh my gosh. And I went and looked into who it was. And it was someone that had followed me on Instagram, but I'd never really interacted with them or, you know, hadn't DM'd them or anything like that. So it felt amazing that, you know, like, I mean, it was only $49, but it was still such a, you know, it was validation that what I wanted to do was needed and wanted, I guess. So yeah, felt amazing.
It's super validating, you know, when you see that first paying member come through and, you know, in your case, you had been thinking about this membership site, as you mentioned earlier, for years. So to finally see, like, it finally come together, you kept it simple, it comes together, you launch that first paying member, is super validating. What would you say for people in terms of how to encourage them to keep things simple? Like, you put this idea off for a couple of years, then you finally got to it. How do people reduce that time so that they don't wait to get their idea out?
I think your founding member training was the kicker for me. I can't remember where I was, but I thought, oh, that's right, Stu's done FML training. I'm going to go back and do that. And it just made launching so much more simple. It took out all the headaches of everything that I had to, that I thought I had to do for this big major launch. Really, I sent 6 emails. I chatted to people on Instagram, and that was it. I put a landing page together. The rest I could build, afterwards. And so I think when I got to the point of like, okay, this doesn't need to be a Stu Porterfield, Stu McLaren or Amy Porterfield big major launch. It can be super simple, and I can just reach out to people and say, hey, I've got these skills. I know that you struggle with this. Is this something I can help you with? And I'm doing a founding member launch and it's 50% off. Does that, it could literally be that. You can literally just text message people that if you wanted to, So just keep it, just do it. I was walking along the beach one morning and I kind of had this, this thought that just hit me, or maybe it was the universe telling me and it was like, send the damn email, Rebecca. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So, I've just got to I've got to give it a go. How will I ever know if I don't start, if I don't try at the very least, So.
Well said, buddy. Well said. Well, thank you so much. Where can people go to connect with you and to learn more?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at branded by Rebecca Flint, or my website is RebeccaFlint.com.
Amazing. Rebecca, thanks so much for coming and sharing, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
So many great takeaways from Rebecca's session. Most importantly is, she waited 2+ years, she mentioned, before getting her idea off the ground. But then it was a matter of like, how do I keep it super simple? And you heard from her. She sent a few messages, a few emails, a few text messages. That was the essence of her launch, keeping the tech very simple and realizing that she could create the membership site after the fact. So, whether it's marketing, whether it's the actual membership itself, there's all kinds of ways to keep it very simple. Appreciate Rebecca coming in from Australia at 3 a.m. in the morning. That was awesome. Now, speaking of which, Rebecca mentioned that one of the things that helped her was our founding member launch strategy that we walk people through. Well, coming up in this workshop that you see right here, we will be walking through this very strategy. And what is so fun about this all starts on April 4th. Mark it down, tell everybody April 4th. April 4th, we will be diving into our once a year free workshop. And during this free workshop, we will be walking through one of the things is the founding member launch. And we will have people, hopefully you, will be launching their membership during the free workshop. So make sure you come and join us. It's all free. Just go to membershipworkshop.com. Okay, with that, I'm going to bring up our next guest, and that is Sophie. Sophie, how are you, bud?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Good to see you again.
Yes, well, we're going to continue on our world tour. We're going to go from Australia all the way to Sweden. So thank you for having us come join you there, Sophie. Real quick, as we dive into today, just give us a quick summary of who is it that you serve in your market?
I serve established musicians, artists, freelancers, startups, and scale-ups in the cultural and creative industry. So anyone working within music, arts, cultural entertainment, and who are looking to digitize and to grow and scale their artistic businesses.
Amazing. Okay, Sophie, the whole focus of this panel is called Simple Tech, Big Results. So I want to ask you, when you go back to when you launched your membership, how did you keep things very simple?
I just did it. I just took action. I remember I am a person who always overthinks. I have big visions, big ideas, which is all great. But I remember I heard about you talking about this. You had a conversation with Kerry Green. And I remember I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I had been thinking about, growing my community and serving them. And I don't know, something just flicked and I just took action. And that is often the best way. Don't think so much, just do. And that's what I did.
So what did that look like when you say you took action? Like, what did you specifically do?
Well, it so happened because I have quite a big network of artists and creators. So I just, if I remember correctly, because I've done 2 founding member launches. One was for a mastermind, and then I, took a year off to work, and then in an organization, and then I came back and recently launched a second founding member launch. But what I did was basically just DMs, via Facebook or Instagram. Just one-on-one conversations. If I remember correctly, I think I did like one I'm thinking about post on social, but that was it. And then, people said yes, and off we went.
Okay. Sophie, you're the second person, because Rebecca said the same thing, that you focused on using direct messages to invite those founding members. I know there's somebody watching that's thinking, it can't be that easy. Like, how, like, what are you saying? What are you inviting them to? Did you already have a whole membership all figured out and established? Like, talk to me about that. Like, what were you saying in that conversation?
Well, I think what happened was that, and it happened both times, I have a very clear vision of what I want to do with Arts Dynamics. I really do want to empower creatives around the world to help them monetize, to market themselves, and to make a living, as artists and as creators on their own terms. So when I laid out my vision, it was really... I just felt really empowered myself and inspired by that vision. So I think first and foremost, I think that shone through. People knew that I'm really passionate about this and I really want to be of service and of help. And when I had a conversation with them, it was really just about understanding where they were at, what they were looking for. Some of them I had conversations with prior. I had been working as a coach and as a mentor, and people had asked for advice. I've had my own production company providing PR marketing and event production management, filling events and stuff. So I often had people approach me to ask questions about those things, marketing and sales. So it was quite a natural thing to just sort of have like a normal conversation like we're having now, not overcomplicated. And it really just was, listening. What were their challenges? What were they looking for? And to ask them, would this be of value? Would this be of service? And then they said, yes, it sounds great. And then it really was that simple. It really was that simple.
So did you have a whole membership area already created and set up when you did this?
No, I followed your advice. I had nothing. I did the exact opposite of what I normally do. I just went out, I laid out my vision. I started a Facebook group, used email, not even a sort of CRM system or like a proper like email system. It really was just my email via my laptop. That's it. That was it. I think I had Kajabi, but I never really used it. It was really just like this. And Zoom. We had Zoom for our weekly calls. That was it.
Okay, but I'm thinking of somebody who's watching and listening who has like a nervous twitch when they hear that you are offering a membership, but you don't have anything created yet. What would you say to that person who is feeling like they got to have all the things set up, all the things created and established before they then make the offer? What would you say?
I think that's a valid question, and it depends on what industry they are in, their mindset of where they are coming from. I come from music and arts and performing arts. We often tend to create first and then sell, and hopefully people show up. Whereas in this game, in the world of online entrepreneurship and memberships, it's the opposite, and it's exactly what you're saying. You're actually sharing your vision to see if there is actually demand for what you're offering. So my recommendation would be present your idea, listen and see what they say, and take your cues from them. Because if you have a strong enough vision and a strong enough why, and why you want to serve them, then people are more than happy to follow along on the journey and to build it together with you. Especially if you do it as a founding member launch, you tell them it's not perfect from the start. We are building this together. I'm taking my cues from you, and I promise to, be respectful and have, stay within the integrity of that. And as long as you do that and they feel that you were there for them, then you can indeed build. Of course, you have to show up. You have to, keep your word. But I had nothing when I started, nothing created, but we created along the way, and they were very much part of that process, also telling me what they wanted and what they needed. And obviously I have been doing this now. I've been in this industry for 27 years. So even though the membership was new, my expertise wasn't. So I would say to people who are watching and listening, you probably have expertise already bringing into this founding member launch. So even though this might be new, your expertise isn't. So trust that and trust the people you serve.
I think there's a lot of wisdom there that I would definitely love to unpack. Like one of the things that you just mentioned was, asking your members for feedback and ideas. And an objection that may or may not arise from people in the audience is saying, well, are people really going to want to pay to then give and contribute ideas and thoughts to a membership? But what you said, I think, is really powerful, is that it's that feedback that helps shape the membership and turn it into the very thing that can serve them at the highest level. And so I'm just wondering if you can kind of speak to that, because I know your members, you have your expertise, as you mentioned, over 27 years worth of expertise, but then the feedback from the members helps shape the experience that you can create. And that could be a really powerful way to then begin creating the membership. Can you kind of speak to that a little?
For sure. There is a saying, people come for content and stay for connection. And in this case, that's very much true. And I find that there is so much information right now for people. They can find it for free online, and there are so many workshops and seminars people can attend. But what is lacking is clarity and direction. So if you can help them and guide them through whatever it is that you're teaching or sharing, or the journey you want to bring them on, it saves them time, it saves them energy. That's one thing. But another thing is also, we shouldn't underestimate the power of actually seeing each other and valuing each other, and for people to feel seen and heard and to feel involved, because very, very often we are being talked to. And when you have a membership and you involve people, it makes them feel special. It makes them feel that you really value them. And that it also helps them take ownership of the process. So I wouldn't be afraid of that. It's actually the opposite. Is you being very respectful of the people that you serve and honoring them and saying, I actually want to listen to what you have to say. And I'm really open to, your feedback, good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is. Just, we have to put our ego to the side sometimes, because the feedback isn't always great, but it's also how we deal with that when that happens. And through that, you can also grow the stickiness in that membership. You can grow your community, and you have very, very loyal members who become ambassadors who then spread the word for you.
It's a great perspective, Sophie. I really appreciate you sharing that. And to your point, people are more invested when they are part of that creation process. So you're absolutely right. It does become a heck of a lot more of a sticky membership. So, excuse me, I want to ask specifics. I asked Rebecca this. I just got a tickle on my throat. 1 second. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. I want to ask, the moment that you did your founding member launch and that first member joined your membership, what thought went through your mind?
Oh, I can remember it to this day. I was actually sitting on my bed, and I remember when that first transaction came through, and it was such a special feeling, Stu, because it was like suddenly I realized everything was possible. Because when you have that first, I managed to somehow, I turned 50 yesterday. I mean, I'm not like a teenager. I'm 50. I wasn't at the time, but it was just a few years ago. But I somehow managed to create my own payment link. I don't know how that happened, but I did. A PayPal or Stripe or whatever it was. And then suddenly I just had money in the account. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, I have my first member. And then the second came, and then the third. And I told my kids, and I'm doing this also to show them what's possible, not to wait for other people to give you opportunities, but for you to create your own destiny. And I remember when I had the feeling, I was like, kids, you won't believe it, because they've seen me work so hard. And it was just so nice to say, this is why I'm doing this. Look. And I remember, and their eyes were like, wow. Did you actually make that money? I'm like, yeah. And then when the money, when more members came in, and I can show the kids, look, we've now got 10 members or 20 members. And their eyes were like, wow. So they were telling their friends, my mom is an entrepreneur and she's got this, and it was just a tiny membership, but it's like, it was a huge mindset shift. So yeah, I'm still when I think about it, because it was such an important milestone. I want to say this too, if I can just add that. I think we often perceive a glass ceiling, but what I've just discovered recently as well is there is no glass ceiling. We think that there is a glass ceiling, just like the elephant when they are small and they're tied to a rope, and then when they grow up, they don't realize they can actually walk away. It's the same here. There is no glass ceiling. And if there's no glass ceiling, and if anything is possible, if we can have one member, yeah.
We can have hundreds and we can have thousands.
Yeah.
Sophie, it is such a great story, and I appreciate you sharing and taking us back to that moment, because it is a tender, amazing moment of when belief gets created that you can actually do this, and to be able to share that with your kids, they borrow that belief from you. We often don't realize all the lessons that our kids pick up just from watching us do what we do. So I love that moment. All right, Sophie, as we wrap up, what advice would you give for others who have been thinking about a membership but are concerned about the tech? What would you say to them in terms of keeping it simple?
Focus on who you want to serve. Don't worry about tech. Just go out there and have a conversation with the people you want to serve. You can make this super, super easy. You can just use DMs. You can use emails. You can use a Facebook group. You can even use YouTube, unlisted for videos. You don't have to have any costs involved. And also your community, Stu, there's so many people that can also help. So we are here to support. So if you do get stuck, ask. But yeah, keep it simple and just do it. Just do it. Get started. Have the conversation
Sophie,
today.
Yes, thank you so much, buddy. Where can people go to connect with you?
Thank you. Go to artsdynamics.com. That's the website, and you can find Arts Dynamics on various social media platforms. We've launched a weekly live stream podcast called Arts Dynamics Talks, and you can find that on YouTube too.
Sophie, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cheers. There's so many great nuggets from Rebecca and Sophie. And I love when we talk about, those moments of getting out of our own way. And as she said, she just went for it. She just did it. And in that, having those real conversations, like she said at the end of the day, like, forget the tech, just focus on the people that you're trying to serve, like focus on who you are trying to connect with and connect. And that is the golden opportunity. There's so many ways for us to do that. Is both she and Rebecca mentioned, they did it just by sending text messages or DMs to people. That's as simple as it can get to be able to get the ball rolling. So with that, we are going to keep rolling. And I want to encourage you to come join us for our free workshop. You see it right here, membershipworkshop.com. It all happens on April 4th. Mark it down, tell everybody you know. This is a free workshop where we're going to walk you through the process of launching, growing, and scaling a highly profitable membership. Every single year, we do this one time a year, and this is a time of year when people are launching their memberships during the free workshop. So even if you have got a fuzzy idea, we're going to help you get it clear. Even if you have no idea at all, but you're just curious, we are going to share so many examples. As Sophie said, we have an incredible community of literally thousands and thousands of other membership site owners in all kinds of different markets, from photography and calligraphy to fitness, finance, music, art, health, dog training. Heck, we even have Holly George, who has a membership teaching people how to make balloon animals, for crying out loud. So it doesn't matter who you want to serve. We will show you all kinds of examples to inspire you and to show you what's possible with your market and your business. So come join us. It's all free. Membershipworkshop.com. It starts soon. Okay, speaking of keeping things rolling, I am going to move on down here to Katie. Katie, how are you?
Hey, Stu, I'm good.
Great to have you. Thanks for joining us. Give us some insight. Who is it that you serve in your market?
Sure. Well, I've started serving special needs homeschooling moms. That's been almost a year now since I launched that membership. And I'm about to roll into serving just simply busy, overwhelmed women who have poured out and are ready to pour in. And then by proxy, help special needs families through their membership there. So it's been a wonderful adventure.
Amazing. Okay, so talk to me about the market that you first started with, the special needs market. Do you have experience in that? Like, where did your passion and interest come for that?
Yeah, I've been a special needs mom now for almost 20 years. Of my 5 kids, 2 have significant different challenges. One's profoundly disabled. And my husband and I, over the 2 decades, witnessed how many families were struggling and falling apart. And really, we saw that it was mainly a lack of tools and a lack of ability to communicate and have support around them. And so we decided that we had made it through enough of that journey. We wanted to journey alongside other families and help them too.
Amazing. So you took your experience and parlayed that into a way to be able to help others in the same capacity. I love it. Okay. So this panel is about keeping things simple to be able to to get things going. I know you have done that in your membership. So let's just go back in time. Let's talk about just prior to launching your membership. What was the thing that was holding you back from getting going?
I think overwhelm, to be honest. And I needed to be here. I needed to be in TME. And I had done your workshop 2 years in a row, but I needed that extra little push. And so one of your alumni, who's a friend of mine, said, "That's it, we're doing this." And so with her borrowed audience, I actually did my founding member launch right in the middle of TME. And that was where I was able to get my first few members. And that's all she wrote. And I'm terrible at tech. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Okay, so I want to unpack this because there's a few things that you said there that I think are very relevant for everybody. You talked about a strategy that we teach called borrowed influence. So that is where we identify people who have an audience that would be a perfect fit for us. And we look for ways to be able to collaborate with them. And so I want to talk first. Did you have your own audience prior to this point?
I did. I had already had a podcast, but they were not the kind of audience that were purchasers. I was still in the journey of learning how to do that and how to help them learn to purchase off of the podcast. But her audience already were a group of women who were ready to purchase things and invest in themselves.
Got it. So what did you do together?
So I was able to speak at her conference. I speak at many, many conferences, and I never pitched myself at conferences. And she said I was going to. So I did.
That's awesome. So you did your founding member launch live, in front of an audience.
Yes, I did.
And how did that go? What talk to me about that whole process. What was that experience like?
It was fantastic because there's something, I have a deep calling to serve these families, being that I am one of them. And it was very satisfying to be able to share. A lot of them were in tears. The comments were so nurturing to me as well, because I could see how much they were being helped. And to be able to be in a relationship with these women this past year has been as supportive to me as it was to them. So it's been a really wonderful experience. And for anyone who's on the fence, who's scared to do it or overwhelmed like I was, the thing I say to people who ask me is just do it, because you're never going to know how until you do it. I've had a huge learning journey, more than even the years prior, because I actually did what you said and did what she said.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that statement right there. Like, you learn so much from doing versus like trying to learn it before you actually take action. I love that. So you mentioned though that you still aren't the best of friends with tech, and you're not super comfortable with tech. So talk to us about like your setup. Like, what does that kind of look like? How are you keeping it simple?
Sure. Well, let me preface it with if someone wants their tech broken, they reach to me and say, "Can you please try to use this so they can work all the bugs out?" That's my luck with tech. So thankfully, I actually was already a member of Searchy for my podcast. That was a tremendous gift. Your customer service and staff there are out of this world, incredible people. So I received the support I needed there. And then I also just kept it simple. Between Searchy and simply using Zoom, I use Zoom to host our live meetings. I use Zoom to record interviews with experts who come in to talk about various important topics for our audience. So I really did keep it very simple.
And so this is great because I'm hearing the deliverables that you have in your membership. So talk to us a little bit about that. You said most of them are via Zoom. Is that right?
Correct. I always post a training each month so that the families are able to watch something that's relevant to special needs life. And then we meet. So we have a meeting for the dads once a month, a meeting for the moms once a month. And then I throw all kinds of things in there as they can handle it and as I can. So they received my course, different things. And we'll meet live for that. Showing up live is actually challenging for our community, but it's also very nurturing and very important to make those connections.
I can imagine. So you've kept it simple with Zoom and in this case with Searchy. I love it. So what advice would you have for others who probably have the same feeling that you do, which is like, I don't know about this whole tech thing. I'm not very technical. What advice would you give them to get them over that hump and get going?
Just sign up for Searchy and get Zoom.
Well, that's a great answer, Katie. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but that is a great answer.
Yeah, I know. I mean, honestly, that's what was my saving grace, because those are simple platforms. And with the customer support that I received at Searchy, I mean, that really was key for me. It was so easy. I think also just breathe through it and learn to read support docs. I know they can feel challenging, but they get easier the more you do it. And then if you have a platform that has a problem, don't hesitate to reach to their customer service. They're not all as great as Searchy, just a warning, but it is how I have made it. So just get used to always being a learner, being willing to learn on the go.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay. So I got to ask you, what are you most excited about as it relates to your membership now moving forward?
I love seeing the ways that the women feel fulfilled, the ways that they're able to learn to slow down. And I've seen benefit in my family as well. And I'm looking forward to the future of that, taking something that's been a very difficult challenge in our life and being able to serve others to make it easier for them. My children have actually decided to also be entrepreneurs. And so this journey has been one I've gotten to take with them. They also hope to be part of the membership at some point to help the siblings of special needs children. So it's been a wonderful experience.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Katie. Okay. So Katie, where can people go to connect with you and to learn more?
There are two simple places. The first one is my podcast, Her Home and Heart, on all the platforms. And then I have a simple link tree, again, not so techy. So Linktree/family success, and you can find me there.
Amazing. Katie, thank you so much for coming and sharing, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, listen, friends, we're going to keep on rolling because I love the fact that all of our guests have just talked about the importance of just keeping it simple. You heard Katie sharing it there. I love how Katie first went to an audience that wasn't even her. So many times people ask, well, wait a minute, like Stu, I need to wait until I have an audience of tens of thousands. No, you don't. You don't need tens of thousands. You don't even need thousands. Just a couple hundred people is all you would need. And many times you don't even need that, because if, as Katie is a great example, you are able to get in front of an audience that is the right fit, then boom, you could do your founding member launch live, just like she did, and build all kinds of momentum. So I love that example. All right, we're going to bring up our next guest, and that is Alina Joy. Alina, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
Buddy, I am grateful that you are here. Let's talk about your audience. Who is it that you serve?
All right. So really it's, well, it's a little complicated. Years and years ago, I started a blog to support my husband's business. And that gathered a lot of moms and a lot of homeschool moms. And I am a homeschool mom, but I don't really feel like an expert at it. And so some things happened in my family, and I set that blog down for a while. And then after I joined TME, I went back to them. And so I'm serving Christian women, but it tends to be a lot of homeschoolers.
Amazing. Okay, great. So then, and what are you helping this audience do in your membership?
All right, so my membership has the world's longest, most ridiculous name. It's called Greek and Hebrew Word Studies for Sleep-Deprived Moms and Other Normal People Who Never Went to Seminary. So we're doing Greek and Hebrew word studies, and I'm just helping women dig deeper into the Bible, really on their terms. Yeah.
And are these like, talk to us about like, what are the deliverables? Are they like lesson plans? Talk to me about that.
Okay, so the deliverables, I do one Bible study a month that is a PDF. I create it in Canva on the free account. So nothing fancy. You want to talk low tech, we're using free stuff. I use one deposit photo picture and that I use in various ways throughout the same study. And that kind of becomes my theme through the study. So I have that one deliverable, and then we do 2 Zoom calls. We have 2 evening Zoom calls, and I repeat the same 2 Zoom calls in the morning for people that can't make the evening crowd. And that's it. And then we have a Facebook group where we can chat.
Okay, I'm gonna pause here for a second because
Sure.
I'm just processing what you're saying.
Sure.
What I heard is that your deliverables are essentially 1 PDF a month and a
Yes.
couple Zoom calls a month. Is that right?
That's right.
You're keeping it super simple, Alina. I love it.
So simple.
Well, and the moment that you mentioned Canva, I know Rebecca was like, doing a little dance. That's her world. But okay, so talk to me then about your advice for people in keeping it simple and not overthinking how to create the membership, how to deliver the content in the membership. What would you say to them?
Okay, so first of all, Bible study is not something I'm an expert in, and I just did it. And once you get it going, like the first Bible study that I wrote for this membership was I did my founding member launch with nothing. And I said, okay, tell me what you want. And they gave me some ideas, and I went and created something. And what I created was a series of 4 weekly Bible studies that they could log in every week and download. And the end result was me handing them a Bible study that was, I'm not even kidding, 100 pages long. And I was like, don't get overwhelmed, but here's 100 pages to study your Bible with, in addition to everything else you're doing. And so obviously we did not stay there. And now it has crunched down into something that's about 40 pages of choose your own adventure. It's a choose your own adventure Bible study. But I would say, like, do you have a car in your driveway right now?
Yeah.
All right. Is it easier to change that car's direction when it's sitting parked in your driveway or when it's moving?
That I love where you're going with this, Alina. Yes, it's 100% easier to move when it's change direction when it's moving.
Right. So just get it started. You'll figure out how you need to change and pivot. Like you'll figure that out as you go. But before I started, I didn't have a clue that what I was doing wasn't exactly what my people needed. And I didn't know where I was going because I didn't know what people needed until I was in the membership having those conversations.
There's a lot of wisdom there. Yeah. Take me back to that moment when your first member joined your membership. What were you feeling in that moment?
So I don't actually remember that moment, but what I do remember is hitting publish on the email where I sent it out to ask people to join. And I had written the email, and Katie Keene, one of the members that, in TME, called me, and we had become friends through TME. And she called me, and I told her, I just wrote this email. I don't know if I'm going to send it. And that woman, you know how sweet and kind and gentle she is. And she was yelling at me over the phone, send it. And we were laughing and having a good time. But I hit send because she made me.
Yeah.
And that's this like pit in my stomach of like, what did I just do?
Wait, I gotta bring Katie. Katie, how do you feel when you hear the influence that you had?
Yes. Well, her membership's amazing. It's incredible. She had to do it.
I did.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that you.
We do what Stu says, and Stu says launch.
Right. Because you're helping the ideas are in your head.
Well, there's a lot to be said though about that. I mean, we're joking with Katie about that moment, but the truth is, like, many times we have to borrow the confidence of others
Yeah.
to be able to finally take action ourselves.
Right.
And there's a lot to be said for that community aspect, because we can get caught up in our own head. We start overthinking, we start overanalyzing, the voices start coming in, and it prevents us from moving forward. So I love the fact that you and Katie jumped on a call, and Katie was like, no, just press send. And I love the fact that you shared that moment together.
Yeah.
That's super
It was
fun.
super fun. And in my case, all the self-doubt was magnified more than most people, because this is the Bible and it's God, and you're impacting people's beliefs of their lives. And I don't feel like I'm nobody special. I'm not a pastor. I'm a mom is what I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I'll hold your hand while you study the Bible, but that's all I'm doing really. And I didn't feel like holy enough to be doing what I was doing, but I had a great business plan. And like, I knew what I wanted to do, but was I the person who should be doing it? Deep down inside, I felt like, maybe I'm not the best person for this. And I have been very transparent with my members about that. And across the board, they all say, that's why we're here. That we love that about you, that you're a normal person.
So what would you say to the person who does feel that imposter syndrome? Because you're not the only person who's ever experienced that. What would you say to that person?
Well, first of all, I wish I could reach through the screen and give them a big hug and say, if it is on your heart to serve somebody, you have the power to make someone's life better, then you should do that every single time. And, put yourself aside. It's going to bless you in the process, and it's going to make you a better person to spread the blessing around. And it's sort of like jam. Like once you start eating it, like everybody gets sticky, and yeah, just if you can make someone's world better, you should do that. That's what you should do.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Alina. Okay. So, you've kept it super simple. You kept it simple in the beginning. You kept it simple ever since in terms of your deliverables with PDFs and Zooms. Any thoughts for people as they are thinking about how to plan their membership on keeping it simple?
So I started my membership in a moment where we had a number of huge life changes going on in our family. I have 5 children, so there's a lot of chaos. My husband lost his job. He was laid off, and we didn't know what the future held. And so we did know, and we had just bought a house. So we had 2 houses and no job. And so what I knew was this couldn't cost money. And I would say there are so many free resources on the internet. Like I could run this membership. Technically, I could run it over email. I could certainly run it in a Facebook group. There are so many free ways to do this. Just get started. Like get in your car and start driving, and you'll figure out where you're going on the way. But there are just so many free, and then you can upgrade to inexpensive and then get the superstar stuff. If you're just getting started, the important thing is get it started.
Yes.
Get it started. So,
amen to that. Okay. Alina,
and this is that like my membership needs to pay for itself. So we're not using the kids' grocery money. Once you start bringing in income, then you have the money to do big, spectacular things. But just get it started. I
love it. Okay, Alina, where can people go to connect with you?
Okay, so my website is happyunconventionallife.com, and I am the only Alina Joy Dubois on all of Facebook. So I'm happy to help anyone that reaches out.
Thank you so much for swinging by and sharing your story. I appreciate you, buddy.
Sure. Thank you for having me. And thank you for everything you've taught us. With TME, I don't think I would have done this.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I love hearing these stories, and I love hearing the importance of Alina Joy and Katie connecting and supporting each other and rallying behind each other, because truth of the matter is, as I've mentioned, there are going to be moments in your journey when you won't know exactly what to do. And even if you do know what to do, you'll still be held back by those creepy thoughts that prevent us from moving forward. And so that's why I want to encourage you to come join us for the membership workshop. It is all happening on April 4th. This is the only time of year that we do this free workshop, and it is free. All you got to do is go to membershipworkshop.com to register, because in that workshop, you are going to be surrounded by thousands of other people who are on their membership journey. You are going to be surrounded by thousands of alumni from our community who have experience launching their memberships, who are all there pouring into you, helping you get your membership site off the ground. You know what the fun part about this workshop is? It is inevitable that you will get swept up in the positive momentum of everybody there taking action. And it is the best place to get out of your own way and to get into action and to make it happen. And I love what Alina Joy said was, that whole analogy of the car. It's way easier to move that car that's in motion than it is to move a parked car. And that's exactly it. Our goal is to get you in motion to help you get that membership site off the ground. This free workshop, it all starts April 4th. So come and join us. Okay. Our last story of the day is probably one of the OG stories of keeping it super simple. And this is why I love bringing on our last guest, and that is Cheryl Hatch. Cheryl, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Stu. Good. How are you?
Good. Well, listen, you've been part of our community for years. And when I first heard how you launched, I fell in love with the process because, Alina Joy just talked about there are all kinds of great tools and platforms. But at the end of the day, if they create overwhelm and prevent us from moving forward, then we don't get to serve anybody. You kept it super simple, and I'm going to get to how you did that in just a sec. But talk to us first about who is it that you serve in your market?
Okay, I serve preschool teachers, so teachers who teach 3 and 4, sometimes 5-year-olds, depending on the cutoff date for kindergarten. I was a preschool teacher and director, and one of my frustrations, I'm an accidental business owner. I was so frustrated for teachers and my team and how much time they spent lesson planning, because I was them on Sunday night writing up lesson plans at the kitchen table instead of spending time with my family and friends. And I wanted to make a difference for teachers doing that. So it started out wanting to help my team. But of course, how am I going to do that? I hate tech. I've had my membership since 2016 and I still hate tech. And you know what? Now that I have a membership, I can pay someone to do if I want to do fancy tech. But I had to do this in a way that wasn't going to make me cry ugly tears because tech.
Well, and I remember when you shared your story in the community and you launched your membership and you kept it very simple. If I remember correctly, you were comfortable with a Facebook group and email.
I didn't have a Facebook group.
Oh, so you didn't even have the Facebook
That's not
group?
true. I mean, I did have a Facebook group, but it was for preschool directors. And I wasn't serving the directors and the operation side of it. It was teachers. So I didn't have a Facebook group. I had an email list.
So you just delivered everything in the membership via email.
Yeah. So yeah, my membership, I mean, it's what I deliver are PDFs. They're week-long lesson plans. And if or anyone who has a preschool, or, we pick a theme or a topic that makes kids want to learn, like it might, draws them into learning, like dinosaurs or secret agents or, whatever it is that we want to do. And we create just these amazing, fun, hands-on activities throughout the week based around that theme. And so that's what I create. They're PDFs. And so I just make the PDF and then I sent out an email, and doing it by email, it almost stopped me. I almost didn't launch, if you remember us talking about that.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't launch because what I envisioned was, I don't want to say, here are the themes you have to teach this month. I wanted teachers to choose that. So I thought, well, it's 2016. There's got to be some technology out there that would allow them to choose, like a la carte, right? Choose the 4 themes you want each month. I couldn't find any technology, and I had people helping me because I don't even know what to look for. I was testing out all these different, like, people signing up for workshops and, not workshops, softwares, and we couldn't find one. So now I'm like, okay, I've told people I have this really cool thing that I've been working on. What do I do now? I don't have the tech. I don't have it. What am I going to do? And I thought, you know what? And this is going to be my encouragement too, is if you want to serve your people and you've got the idea and the content to serve them, just serve them based on what you have in front of you. So I was like, okay, so I am going to have to tell them, here are the themes that you're going to get each month, but just until I find the right tech. And I let them know that. So, here's the calendar for the next school year. And yeah, if you see the dinosaur theme in, I don't know, April, I can't give it to you now in October because it's not created yet. I'm creating it
Yeah.
so I told them that. So I almost didn't launch. And I was working with a marketing person who said, well, we can wait until you find the technology, or can you just launch anyways? I was like, well, heck yeah, I can just send them an email.
Yeah.
And so I launched with an email.
And here's what's crazy. People are going to, I think, kind of be blown away when they hear how many paying members you had and before you moved to a membership platform. So you mentioned we're going back to 2016. So you've had a membership site now serving these preschool owners for a long time. But if I remember correctly, you had close to 600 paying members before you moved to a membership platform. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I had an email list where I actually asked them, hey, listen, I'm developing these. I need some feedback on, I wanted to make sure, do you think I'm hitting all the areas and what preschoolers need to learn in science? Do you think I should be adding anything, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I said, if you want to give me feedback, just click this link. I would love to get your feedback, your input. So this was as I was creating the stuff. And so part of my list, some people clicked yes. They said, yes, send me more email. I was like, all right, I'll send you more email. So I launched August 12th, 2016. I launched to just that part of the list, the people who offered to help, even if they didn't help. If they had clicked that button and said they would help, I sent them, I called it a beta launch. But then after I launched, I think a week after I launched, I learned about TME and I was like, oh, I'm joining that. That needs to happen. But yeah, so it was a beta launch or a founding member launch. It went out to them. And that one launch lasted, I did it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And because teachers get paid every 2 weeks usually. So I wanted to make sure I hit 2 pay periods, 2 Fridays. So in that 2 week period, there were 229 people signed up from that smaller portion of my list. And then the price went up because that was 50% off what my public pricing would be. And I told them that. Then I increased the price. So now it's 25% less than what my public pricing was going to be. And 401 people joined.
Isn't that crazy?
Joined to get an email with lesson plans. I didn't even have anything fancy. I had PDFs and email lists. That's all I had. And then over the next year, I kept looking. And actually, it was a member of TME that helped me find the tech. It was a member in TME who said, Cheryl, because I said, this is what I'm looking to do. I don't even know what it's called. What does anybody know? And so it was Sally Hoey. She said, you should check out this software. So I checked it out. It was exactly what I was looking for. It did exactly what I wanted, where teachers could come in, choose the 4 things they wanted, and then go do their thing. So we built that. And when I say we built that, I hate tech. Because I had this launch of 630 people that joined, I had a little bit of money where I could pay someone to build the site. And I still pay her to upload all my content. If I had to upload a piece of content to my members area, I would not know how. I hate tech. Somebody else that loves doing it, that's that. So we got this all set up and got the membership site. And so we sent emails for a year. I sent everything by email for a year. And so in 2017, in September and October, is when I launched this. Hey, we have this new site. It's amazing. You can choose your own themes. And a lot of people who didn't join the year before emailed me and said, once I can choose my own themes, let me know, I'll join. Okay, cool. So in that time, again, I ran it for about 3 weeks because it was so new. During that launch, I had 437 people join.
Wow. And so here's what's amazing about this though, Cheryl. You could have waited. You could have waited until you had the tech set up. But you didn't. And the beauty about that is you welcomed more than 600 paying members, and you still kept the tech super simple. And there were members who said, "Hey, I'm not going to join until I can pick my themes." But you didn't let that be the negative voice that could have held you back. Instead, you just kept moving forward. And that's why I love all of these stories. I love you sharing your story, because the whole theme that I hope people come away from this realizing is that we don't have to get it right. We just have to get it going. And there's so much momentum that can build from that. Because fast forward to today, Cheryl, talk to us about your membership today and what gets you most excited about your membership.
Well, a lot of things get me excited about my membership, but I mean, so my husband is retired and I can now run this a couple of days a week and spend time with him. I have grandkids now. I have 2 grandkids. Like I get 4 technically now. So I get to spend time with that. Like that's very exciting to me. We've had family health issues happen over the last couple of years. I was able to just be there for my family. I could not have done that if I was in the field. I mean, I would have to find a sub, and what happens to my 16 preschoolers that I need to teach, and how to I mean, it's amazing. But from the business operations side, what I love most, Stu, is it's still low tech.
Right.
There's a membership site, but I don't have to know it. And you know what? If something breaks, and I'm going to tell you, here's a story too. The day I launched back in 2016, I tested the order forms like ad nauseum. I'm like, this isn't going to work. It's going to break. It's going to blah, 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 blah. It was fine. I went to go test it the night before, broken. Broken. And it wasn't just that form. So I don't even know how to create these forms. Someone did it for me. So I had to call them. I'm like, so they tried to create a new form, broken. My entire account had a glitch. So I had to delay my launch. I was ugly too. This is why I hate tech. This is why all that stuff. And then, so we launched instead of 7 a.m, we launched at 7 p.m. on a Friday night. So, but it's just like, what I've learned is if the tech breaks, there's someone who knows how to fix it. And I think it might've been Katie who said, if anything breaks, I mean, just reach out to,
the support of the companies. Yeah.
And just say, hey, can you help me? I don't know what to do. And the email I send when that happens is, I broke something. It's user error. Can you help me? It could be a glitch, but I just assume it's me because, like Katie, I have someone I worked with who said, you're like the glitch magnet. There's a glitch in the software. I'm your girl. I will find that for you. But yeah, I do love that it's still relatively low tech. I mean, I have more of what you call a UPS style, which means there's no live Zoom meetings. There's no connection. My teachers want to come in, they need to get their lesson plans and they need to leave. But what I get to do now too, what I didn't email before is now I create professional development trainings. And even that I get on like old fashioned, I don't even think it's been updated. It's Camtasia, screen thing. I talk. And then I put it unlisted on YouTube and put a link in the membership. And that's the professional development training. So I was able to add that kind of as a bonus. So there's since 2017, there's probably 40 hours of professional development training.
Wow.
But just do those.
But even still, I know in hearing you say that, there are people watching and listening that are thinking, wait a minute, Cheryl, don't you know that if somebody were to get your unlisted YouTube link, they could share that and then everybody could access that for free. And I love the fact that you know that, but you're not even concerned or worried about that. It's the most important thing is just keeping it simple.
And I just stuck with I just want to serve teachers. And you know what? If you serve people, the people that you want to serve and you serve them well, it comes back to you. Are there going to be people who do that? Sure. You know what? For a year, Stu, I sent an email with a link. They could have shared that link with every teacher they knew and they all could have got the lesson plans for free. It wasn't locked down. It was Amazon S3. I think it was up in the cloud. So anyone who had that link could have taken those lesson plans. Now, when you go into the membership site, that's different, right? But for a whole year, I mean, that's, 4 themes a year doing the math, right? 52 themes went out that, sure, they could have shared it. Some people probably did, but everything's branded. So if they really liked it, they're going to come back and find me.
I just love the perspective. I love that you kept it simple. And I love that it's just an amazing example of how you can build an uber successful membership, keeping it simple in the beginning and doing the best with what you know how to do. Cheryl, what advice would you give for everybody as we look to wrap up here about, getting started with their membership?
Everyone has said it, right? Just do it. Every journey starts with a single step. It's all this, woo-woo stuff that we say all the time. But seriously, I think that we just get in our own way. And if you're afraid to do it because of tech and you don't even understand the tech and what if it breaks, there's someone out there that can fix it. And it's not me. Like, so don't reach out to me because I cannot help you do any of the tech. And the thing is, I love that I don't have to know it, because the fact that I don't have to know it is, like Sophia said, I can focus on my expertise. Like I was a preschool teacher and director for 20 years, 23 years. So that's what I love. And that's where my passion is. It's not figuring out why this button isn't clickable. It's not trying to figure out why can't I even see the words on my web page? Like I can read something and figure it out. I mean, I'm a teacher. I love learning new things, but I don't have to know it. If I want to learn it, I can, but I don't have to. And if you feel like you have to know a certain tech to launch your membership, find a different way for now. Just find a different way so you can get out there and serve. And then, because sometimes what will happen is you'll find that the idea you thought you had and the tech you thought you were going to use to do it isn't even going to serve your members well anyways. Because as you get to know them, you're like, oh, that software wouldn't even help them. It would confuse them even more. Yeah.
Truth be told. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. Where can people go to connect with you?
My website is, it's back in the day when having dashes between the names was really in and cool back in like 2010. So it's preschool-plan-it.com.
Preschool-plan-it.com.
That's it.
Cheryl, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you coming and sharing.
Well, thanks, Stu.
Friends, what a session. The overall theme is this: get out of your own way, keep things super simple in the beginning, and build your momentum. You can always figure out what goes in the membership down the road. You can always figure out how to structure the membership down the road. You can always figure out the platform down the road, but you got to get going. That is the most important lesson from today. I want to thank all of our amazing guests, Rebecca, Sophie, Katie, Alina Joy, and Cheryl. It was amazing to hear their stories. And I want to encourage you, go send them some love. Go find them on Instagram, go to their websites, give them a big high five, and thank you for joining us here today. And my last words of encouragement is, look, come and join us with our free workshop. It all starts April 4th. This is the place where all these ladies and all of our community, this is where it all begins during our free workshop. So if you've got an idea, maybe it's a bit fuzzy, maybe you don't even know what market you want to serve yet, but you want clarity around what would be a good market for a membership, come and join us. We're going to help you do that. If you know who you want to serve and you got some clarity about like maybe what you want to provide, we're going to help you get clarity around what your content strategy would be, how to launch it. In fact, we're even going to walk you through a process where you can launch it during the free workshop. There is nothing for me that's more fun and exciting than watching people like yourself, hopefully you this year, launch your membership during the free workshop. So come join us. All the details are right here, membershipworkshop.com. So with that, my friend, thank you so much. Tomorrow, we are back again for another amazing panel. We're going to be talking to another group of membership site owners. And we're going to be talking about the exact strategy that they use to launch their membership. So if you want to dig deeper into that, come join us. That will be tomorrow. All right, my friend, have a great rest of the week. If I don't talk to you then, talk soon. Bye-bye.